We are going to be talking today about a match which is just spectacular. It's Bobby Heenan versus the Ultimate Warrior in a Weasel Suit match. This took place at Wrestlefest 88, which is occasionally the WWF would put on these great big stadium shows. Often when they did outdoor stadium shows, they'd record them for video release because it makes them look really impressive. And this was headlined by a Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan steel cage match.
Cool.
I think it's the only time they ever had a steel cage match. It's not very good at all. Right. And it takes place just after WrestleMania 4, where there's been this title tournament that Randy Savage won.
Just a quick one. Would they have made artificially the steel cage shorter to make Andre the Giant look bigger, do you reckon?
Ooh, don't know.
I would have done that.
Or given him huge shoes...
Spice Girl shoes.
So that his knees are above the top of the cage.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
A lot of time for that.
The one thing Andre needs is more barriers to being able to walk easily. That would help him out. This was an odd match in that Heenan... How old do you think Bobby Heenan is in this match?
I just think he's a rotund 43-year-old. I'm going to go with that.
That is pretty good. He's 44.
Is he? Wow. Yeah.
He always looked like he was 60 throughout his entire career. He never really aged. It's exactly the same. But in this, you've got the Ultimate Warrior, who is one of the hot up-and-coming, best-built performers in the WWF, going up against a 44-year-old man who is known as a manager who looks like he's in his 60s. And what's amazing about this match is not only is it one of the best things on Wrestlefest 88, it toured on the house shows, and it just did amazing business. People would happily pay to see this match.
Yeah.
Now, part of the reason they paid is absolutely 100% clear in this match. It's because Bobby Heenan, as a performer, is better than most of the people who have ever stepped foot in a wrestling ring.
He does the sort of selling, the massive oversells, flips and pirouettes, and he's just hilarious.
They do. There's a really good start to this where you look at Heenan and you go, you're not an athlete, you're pudgy, you're out of shape, and you've got no offence. And the only person who doesn't realise that is Bobby Heenan. And Bobby Heenan thinks, I can beat this guy. And that's what's perfect about the character. He's so clever with that. What happens is, very quickly, he realises he's outmatched. And that is funny as well. The realisation of that. It's just perfection. It's so good. He comes into this with that thing of cheating, and he's going to use everything he can to cheat. And none of it works. It's just amazing.
After running away from the Ultimate Warrior for ages.
The other funny thing about this match is, not only when you look at them, do you know what the result is going to be?
Right.
The best thing about it is it's a Weasel Suit match.
Yeah.
Someone is going to end up in a Weasel Suit.
Is a concept that's been used before?
Bobby Heenan called himself the Brain, but he was also termed the Weasel. So people used to chant at him, Weasel, Weasel, and he didn't like it. There is nothing really weaselly about him. But he would react really well. As soon as one person would say Weasel, he'd pretty much hear it and just, what are you saying? So they have a Weasel Suit match because he's known derogatorily as the Weasel. Who do you think is going to end up in the Weasel Suit? Is it the Ultimate Warrior or is it the Weasel? Weasel is one of the great English words, it really is.
But the suit just looks like, in American Psycho where he puts that waterproof suit on. It's sort of a bit like you've gone to kill some cockroaches in a house.
There's something funny about it as well, which is there's no such thing as a Weasel Suit.
No.
They're talking about it like it's a thing you might go, oh, of course, a Weasel Suit.
It's a protective suit that they bought, as a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
That they've taped some, partridge, they put tungsten tip screws on the ends of the fingers.
So either that or just make it look like claws or something, I don't know. And they put a tail on it. And the Ultimate Warrior, throughout the match, you can hear him just continually going, Weasel, Weasel. And it's just a match where everyone is saying the word Weasel again and again and again. Bobby Heenan is just flipping around and looking terrified. Lord Alfred Haynes is on commentary, and he has never seen anything funnier. Superstar Billy Graham is on with him, the single worst commentator in WWF history. Yeah.
It's the perfect storm. Billy Graham shit. Lord Alfred Haynes cannot stop laughing.
Cannot stop laughing.
He barely gets any words out.
It's one of the few times you get a commentator laughing on air who isn't having to fake it by going, and look at the bushwhackers there. They're really giving that young lad a time of his life. This, he is just like, I know that guy. I know that guy. And the other guy is beating the shit out of him. And look at his face. He's shitting himself. He is laughing his arse off. You can hear a little clip of that just here. This is Alfred pissing himself as he watches a man of a similar age being attacked.
Well, Bobby Heenan's eyes are now open.
A weasel inside a weasel there.
I don't think he's quite aware of what has happened.
No, I hope our photographer... Oh!
Surprise!
Two of them.
Chasing his tail.
Look at him, look! Oh, he's furious.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he can't get it off. Yes, he can.
Got one arm free.
What utter humiliation. Oh, my word.
But Alfred is having the time of his life, and what he's forgotten, of course, is that he's not just been invited along to see one of his mates get beaten up and then laughing at it. There's a great bit where Sean Mooney turns to him. They've obviously not had a chat about this beforehand. And Sean Mooney goes, "So, how did this match come about, Lord Alfred?" Alfred, credit to him, he refuses to think on his feet immediately. And this bit here is him trying to buy some time before he comes up with one of the most confusing reasons for a match ever happening right here.
Alfred, how did this match come about?
You'll have to ask the Warrior, but I'm telling you, he just wanted Heenan there, and Heenan didn't know that he'd signed himself into this actual match. He said he had first refusal of any match against anybody, then he suddenly found out that he didn't have that. And consequently,
that's true.
He trapped himself into this match with the Warrior.
Amazing. So just something about a contract that is... It's so funny he goes into business for himself that he doesn't just go, well, I heard it was signed and Bobby Heenan full of valour, but I think, discretion would have been... It's easy to do. It's easy to do. Well, he had a no contract clause, but then that wasn't the... It's so vintage Hayes. Vintage Hayes. Throughout this, all he does is laugh at Bobby Heenan. And Bobby Heenan is genuinely funny. The bit at the end where Heenan has been put to sleep with a sleeper, they get him in the Weasel suit while Ultimate Warrior goes, Weasel.
Can't get it over his boots. No. Cannot get it over his boots.
It's funny.
Didn't think about it. Give him flares.
They've clearly not tried
Idiots.
it before.
It's
they
not
did
even
it.
his size.
No, and he gets
He
into
can't do it up.
When he looks at the pause and he takes it in as to what's happened with the... To do that level of sort of panto acting in front of a stadium and to get a laugh out of it, he then sees the tail and he sort of chases the tail in anger and spins around. Alfred destroyed by that. But honestly, just think about if you were in a stadium and you could do something that was just the reaction and the way you moved that would make everybody laugh. It's incredible. Heenan he's one of those guys, he is seen as being one of the great wrestling managers of all time. He started off as a wrestler. He was one of those guys who got so much heat in the 60s. He was the manager of a guy called Nick Bockwinkel, who was a perennial champion. There was a match they had where he put Nick Bockwinkel's foot on the rope, I think, to break a count.
Right.
That incensed the audience so much that a man stood up and he fired a gun twice at Bobby Heenan. Just that level of heat. It actually injured 5 people in the front row.
Right.
It missed Heenan, but it went through all the people who were in front of him. The guy himself was identified, the shooter, but they never did anything about it, the police. They were just like, we'll keep an eye on him from now on. That's the 60s for you, isn't it? You shoot 5 people and you go, the thing is, he did have a ticket.
He did have a ticket, and Bobby Heenan really took the piss.
Do you know what, Heenan? We wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for you putting Bockwinkel's leg on the rope.
Inciting violence.
Exactly that. Heenan has a long career. Everywhere he went, he was a huge success. Everywhere he went, he was a main eventer. He did actually have a wrestling career that lasted until the 80s, but his neck was broken on a tour when he was working with All Japan. It's an amazing thing to think of Bobby Heenan wrestling in All Japan in the 80s when it was the #1 wrestling organisation in the world. They didn't take people who were okay wrestlers. They only took the very best. And for Heenan to have that career be totally forgotten about because he was so good as a manager, it just tells you the man was just absolutely a dynamo. This match, Bobby Heenan does all of the work. The Ultimate Warrior has a total night off.
Yeah.
And Heenan, even though he had this broken neck which stopped him competing, he's taking bumps like you would not believe.
When he managed to sort of flip himself into the ring post, and the crowd start counting the 1, 2, 3, 4 as he smashes the head off the turnbuckle.
He is one of those guys, but the Warrior does that thing where you knock someone's head into the turnbuckle, and Heenan makes it look like it's the most devastating thing in the world. It is such a performance. This was his last ever really significant in-ring action. Certainly, I think it may have been one of his last matches. He did say in his autobiography that doing this little run with Warrior, that he was really badly injured by Warrior during it, that he got a lot of injuries at
some
the
of the
Warrior's
quotes
hands.
about that. They really did not care for one another.
They did not. So Heenan spoke about him and said, I don't like the Ultimate Warrior. He wasn't raised as a wrestler. He wasn't in the business because he loved wrestling. He was a guy who used to work out and he thought this was easy money. He had a great body and his paint looked good and his hair was long. It all stopped there. Once the bell rang, it was over. Now, Heenan has seen every wrestler of note from the 60s to pretty much the 2000s, and he saw the Ultimate Warrior and he said he is shit. He also said that when they were working together, Heenan would say, look, I've got a broken neck. Very famously in WCW, he swore live on air when Brian Pillman came near him and grabbed him, and Heenan just sort of goes, get the fuck off of me. And part of that was because he had such a bad neck injury. He was thinking, if Pillman does hit me, I could just break, in an instant. When he left WWE, he went to WCW and he became contracted talent, and he needed to do that because he needed surgery on his neck, so he needed to have health insurance.
Right.
So one of the reasons when he left WWE, he sort of kicked out, I think partly because he was too old on camera as well, WCW enabled him to get that surgery because he had to have the medical insurance. Again, a terrible thing that someone who's worked in the WWE during its boom period could not afford that medical help by himself. The Ultimate Warrior also was not a fan of Bobby Heenan.
The quotes are rather robust. I mean, I would say Heenan's gone in a bit on the Warrior. The Warrior's done some finishing moves.
Warrior said here, he said Heenan's a two-faced bastard, always has been in the business. He should have said something to somebody if he had a problem with it. I mean, I never went out to the ring to try and hurt anybody or anything like that. Not being a technical wrestler is kind of a silly bad rap I get all the time from guys like Bret Hart and industry pundits. Yeah, it's because you weren't very good. My response is, look, you guys were in the business for a dozen years before I even got there. A dozen years, and you never figured it out that wrestling skills per se were not where it was at. It was about being a gimmick. I got there, and in 2 years I figured it out. I didn't get in the business to just be a pro wrestler, let alone one who had a whole bag of technical moves. I got in to succeed at its highest levels, and I did.
Well, to be fair, there's some certain truth to some of the things he says. I mean, I'm sure you're going to go on to the other things he said about Bobby Heenan.
And it's true, absolutely. Every new generation of wrestler will say that the next generation, they don't know how to work. I think the difficulty is, with hindsight, the Ultimate Warrior could not work. You would not want to sit down and watch 15 matches with the Ultimate Warrior.
No.
I find it hard to watch 2. Warrior, when Bobby Heenan got cancer, so in early 2000s, Bobby Heenan contracted cancer of the jaw. And he had to have a number of surgeries, which really did take away a large part of his face. I mean, it was absolutely invasive.
Yeah, we've spoken about it before.
The cruelest thing about it was it took away his voice. And Heenan was one of those guys who was just incredibly quick-witted, always funny. There's a little talk about him when he did do the conference circuit, which must have been a bold move. Because it'd be impossible not to see him and go, crikey, you know. And yet he knows that reaction is coming and he would still go there. What he'd do is when people would pay for an autograph, he would take the money from his wife and he'd immediately hold it up to the light as if it was naturally going to be counterfeit. So he was even then doing a little bit of wrestling selling like he didn't trust you when you came over with your money. Magic, absolutely the best ambassador for it. When he got cancer, the Ultimate Warrior put something on his website about it. And as for you, Bobby Heenan, it's just too difficult to keep a straight face talking about the pure two-faced bag of shit you are and have always been. What, with you also actually wearing one as a piece of body jewellery? No idea what that means.
I think he's talking about a catheter.
Oh, right, okay.
So I think that's what he's doing.
Oh, that's class, isn't it?
Clever, isn't it?
You're dying, diseased on the inside, and no more time is left to get back any of the integrity that matters the most on death's bed. Imagine what it will be like, lying there, taking in your last breaths, knowing you hoard yourself out your whole life, and had to, in your final years, be faced with emptying your own personal... I've lost a page.
Shall I finish it?
Yeah.
Your own personal shitbag affirming to you the true value of what you achieved in your life. Not even Vince could come up with a better finish than this. Karma is just a beautiful thing to behold.
Yeah. And talking of karma... Bobby Heenan outlived the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes! Fucking yes.
The Ultimate Warrior died in 2014. Heenan lived another 3 years to 2017. And that is one of the great things that you can have as a wrestler. The Ultimate Warrior didn't have that Bobby Heenan did. And that was timing.
Ultimate Warrior. So let's get the official word. The Ultimate Warrior. He's a sick guy.